happy that all of you have joined us here during the Governor's Conference for 2011. I've heard from a number of you about some of the exciting breakouts and some of the exciting speakers and things that you've learned, and that's what it's about. Also in the exhibit hall, business is being done, new leads have been established, and that's great. So give yourself all a big round of applause. Well, you've heard a lot from the Cabinet Secretary, but you haven't heard quite enough. So we've got her on right now to take us through a number of tips and things that she's learned over the years and wants to share with us. Again, I can't say enough about how much you should listen to this and see what she has to offer, because she has a great wealth of experience that she's brought back to her home state of New Mexico and is going to share with us and move us forward into the new year and really make tourism for New Mexico everything it can be and then some, and help our businesses and our family to grow and prosper in this great state of New Mexico. So without further ado, I'd like the Cabinet Secretary of the New Mexico Tourism Department to come forward, Monique Jacobson.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having me again, or at least coming back at the end of the day. I guess that's what I should be thanking you for. Great turnout for an end of day event, so thank you for that. I think it's probably the chocolate, but I'll pretend like it's me. I'm going to be splitting my time because I know that even more fun than learning about tips on marketing is seeing actual marketing, so we'll be turning it over to Martine and the Saatchi team to talk to you about what's going on. So I'm going to speak fast and go through these 10 tips quickly. We can regroup with me later if you have any more questions or thoughts on them. So here are some key marketing tips that as I've jumped into this role, I think can really be helpful for you guys. That's my hope. The first, and we talked about this yesterday, but I think it's so important that I want to reiterate the point, which is always see the world through the eyes of your traveler. It's very easy to see the world through your eyes. And it's easy to think as a company through the eyes of the company. And I would really push you to not take that approach and to take the approach of what does the traveler see? What are their needs? It's easy to go, my needs are to grow X%, or we've got to expand to Y market. But I would ask you, flip that on its side and think why? Why through their mind? Why in their mind do we need to expand to X market? Or what need can you meet of theirs so that you can grow? So it's a turning, and I would encourage you to get all of your employees to shift their thinking as well. And it comes in the form of how you talk in meetings and who you think of as the key stakeholder, and whether you're thinking of that key stakeholder for you as the owner of the company, or you're thinking of it as the people whose needs you're meeting. So I think this is a key one that I would suggest you guys try to do, and try to get it as part of your dialogue and how you talk and think. The next one is choose that target. So as you're thinking about who this traveler is, choose them based on passion before going to demographics. So I think if you think about people who are like you and who have similar drives and ideas and thoughts, they may not be your age, they may not be your sex, they may be very, very different in terms of demographics, but what would unify you is that passion. And when you're talking about tourism, we're talking about passion. It's travel, it's trips, it's things that really mean a lot to someone. And I would encourage you to think that millennials may be more similar to boomers than you think if you can tap into a mindset. So are they the folks who love to relax? Are they art lovers? Do they love adventure? What is it that links them from a mindset perspective? So from a psychographic perspective as opposed to a demographic perspective. So I would think lead with passion and psychographics, then get to your demographics. The third, know who you are. We talked about this yesterday. This is really, really important. And I think it's worth taking the time to get together with the folks that you work with and have discussions about this. But know who you are, and as important is know who you aren't. It is easy to want to be everything to everyone. On Gatorade, it was hard to stay very focused on that competitive target and the sports drink market, and that's what we wanted to do. We knew what we weren't. We weren't a beverage to just drink when you're partying. We weren't a hangover cure, although they're a great hangover cure. I've heard. That was not who we were, and it wasn't how we were going to market ourselves. So really think about who you are and who you are relative to the competition in other states and relative to your co-contributors, because that's how we're going to think of each other, in our state, and have that clearly defined role. You don't have to be everything. Be something and be the best at that. Big watch out, a watch out. Now this is a tricky one. My watch out for you is you're defining who you are. Watch out if your lead is just value. Value is critical and it's absolutely important, but it should not be your lead point of difference. The reason being, it's easy for someone to replicate that. It's also easy for someone to undercut you at any time. It also makes you it's actually an expensive point of difference to have, because you have to continually remind people that it's about value. You're not grabbing them in that emotional way. So deliver on value. It's so important, especially right now. Everybody wants to feel like they're getting a deal. Even if you're high end, people want to feel like you're getting a deal. So deliver on value, but make sure you have something other than just that you're low cost that will separate you from the competition. So again, this is a tricky one because it's important, but it should not, I think, be your lead point of difference. Make sure that you are actually worth paying more for. Then when you charge them less, it's a real great delighter. Drive, trial, ensure, repeat. So this is a big one for us in the consumer packaged goods world, but I think it's absolutely spot on for New Mexico. I believe our primary objective is to drive trial, because we do have higher repeat numbers than other states. And you know it anecdotally. There are people that come here and they fall in love. And you hear that over and over and over. I came to New Mexico, I stayed the rest of my life. Or I came to New Mexico and it grabbed me. People talk like that about our state, so let's bring them here, get large groups of them here, because we'll hopefully get that repeat. But that second piece is we can't just count on getting it. Think about what you're doing to ensure we get it. This is where I think you guys can have a lot of fun working together. So if you can bring someone into Taos, and maybe their repeat will be to Santa Fe because you've sold them on something incredible in Santa Fe, or maybe it's to Carlsbad because you've said now you've seen the northern part, see the southern part of our state, and we're getting that repeat. And if the same is happening on the other end, well, there we're growing New Mexico and you're both benefiting. So think about your marketing plans and things you're doing as those two separate pieces. What are you doing to drive trial? And then separately, what are you doing to ensure repeat? And we're thinking of this as we build out the marketing plans. We'll have more of our mass awareness vehicles driving trial, and then some really strong grassroots initiatives to hope to ensure that repeat. So if it's itineraries, pushing folks around the state, that type of thing. So think of them as two separate things and make sure you're planning on both. This is my very favorite one, always. Simplify. Simplify the way you're approaching your marketing plan. Simplify back to the point on what you want to be. Simplify that. It's not good to try to be everything. So think about what are the best things you're going to be and get rid of all the rest. When you evaluate creative, ask yourself, do I need all of this information? Apple is an incredible example of this. They simplify to the point that sometimes they don't even have instruction manuals, and they believe in how smart the folks are that they'll be able to figure this out. And it's what makes it beautiful, and it creates a high-level feeling that I think we should have on things that are from New Mexico. So think about that. Think about how you can simplify everything you do. A lot of times, less actually truly is more. If it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. It's easy to come up with really fun, cool, clever ideas, but continue to ask yourself, is this going to drive tourism? Is it fun for the sake of fun and it looks good in a presentation, or it makes folks chuckle? That can be okay if that's part of your brand building, but make sure you can tie it back to driving tourism. It can be a way to help you simplify, is to get rid of some of those things that actually aren't going to drive your dollars. Build a relationship with many passionate and loyal travelers. This builds off of what we heard about today, some of the digital media, the social media plans, which I know you guys are all taking off. But just as my hope is to inspire you guys and that you will go back and inspire your folks, the best thing you can do is create an army of loyal followers who are actually doing your job for you. Because it's much, much easier if you have every single person who loves your establishment or your place talking about why they love your establishment or your place. It's much easier than if you have to do all that heavy lifting on your own. Live your brand. This one hopefully is a really fun one. As you figure out what you stand for and who you are, bring it to life in everything you do. Bring it to life in how you dress, or bring it to life in the types of meetings you have with your employees. At Gatorade, our brand was sport, and we did incredible sports immersion programs, and the language we used was constantly coming back to sport. And we would have days where we could dress in more of our sporty clothes because it was part of our brand. Anyone who's been to Nike knows that at the Nike campus, it's sport everywhere. Like they're truly living their brand. And think about that. You start to define who you are, what you stand for. You start to live that. You get your employees to go out and do things that are in line with this brand. You're gonna have stronger, more passionate people working for you, and it'll come through in everything you do. I was teasing our friend from Red River that I think they're an incredible family market, and I thought how perfect that she brought her son up when she accepted her award, because it reinforced that brand, that is the family-friendly destination. So I think it was brilliant, very well done, and thank you. But it really did, and it did even when I would see her throughout the weekend or the week and see that, you start to feel it, and it becomes just an absolute part of who you are. So I think I'd encourage you to think of fun ways to do that as you define who your brand is. And the last one that I have to hit again, and I know I hit it already a lot yesterday, but it's continually raise the bar. Continually raise the bar. We all have an opportunity to do better, and if you've done great, that's awesome. But now you can do even better. And that was what we learned, obviously being part of a publicly traded company, is you have to continually raise the bar. And Gatorade is a $4 billion brand. That wasn't okay, that wasn't acceptable. It was, how are you gonna get that next growth? And I thought, come on, $4 billion is pretty good. But that you can never stop there. It's always thinking, what are you gonna do to get that next person to come? And what you're doing is working great, but do something new or do something better, and think about how we can be more strategic in our approach. So it was a lot of fun actually talking to folks yesterday and hearing them talk about what they're doing and why it's great, but my favorite part was hearing about the folks who had thought of a way to do it better or something new that they could bring to the game. So just continually elevate your game, get the folks around you to elevate their game, again, regardless of if it's with regards to customer service. Elevate that game. And I think if we all do this one alone will be what really, really helps build tourism in this state. So I'm gonna turn it over now to Martine. Thank you guys for that, and thank you again for everything this